The first theme today is equity in agriculture, food systems, nutrition, and health. And I will call on Aisha Abdu, please.
Is it on?
All right, Aisha, your time starts now.
So we wanted to understand how nutrition-sensitive agricultural interventions contribute to women's empowerment. So we did a case study of the Linking Up Project, an NSA intervention implemented in rural Ghana among women farmers through farmer-based organizations. We assessed the project's gender approach. We did end-line qualitative data collection with participants to collect their perceptions of change in empowerment, and did baseline and end-line survey data collection. So for the results, we found that the project had 3 gender-specific components. And from our qualitative, we found that these components influence women's empowerment in 3 different domains across multiple indicators, which was supported from findings from our pre-post analyses, but across fewer indicators. So visit our poster to learn more about our findings. Number 55.
Thank you. Neha Yadav, your time starts now.
Climate change is accelerating in the Indian Himalayas, driving up extreme climate events and putting agriculture and food security at risk. The resulting health impacts are worrying, with persistent anemia in children and nutritional deficiencies in adolescent girls and women. Our research implies vulnerability and intersectionality approaches to understand this complex situation. The challenges are manifold, driven by geographical specificities, uncertainties, and subsistence farming. Diversification is critical, but its effectiveness varies with social differentiation and intersecting vulnerabilities. Barriers to adaptation are deeply rooted in access disparity to resource, knowledge, and land ownership. These challenges underscore the need to rethink our policies and knowledge framework. We advocate for decolonizing these frameworks and promoting bottom-up strategies. As we grapple with the policies and politics of adaptation, let's discuss how intersectionality can shape the capacities of marginal Himalayan landholders. For more insights, please visit poster number 56.
Thank you, Neha. Please get to the next person. Simone Fast, please.
I think there's an extra mic on somewhere that's getting bumped around. So maybe that could get fixed. Okay. Hi. We conducted a literature review. We conducted a literature review to identify peer-reviewed studies that use the Women's Empowerment in Agriculture Index instruments, there are a few, and focused on any of the outcomes specified by the Gender and Food Systems Framework that was developed for the UN Food Systems Summit in 2021. Looking only for studies that used empowerment indicators as determinants of either nutrition, food, and diets, livelihoods and economic, environmental, or well-being outcomes, we identified 30 papers, all of which use data from African and Asian countries. Most of the studies focused on nutrition, food, and diet, while none of these 30 studies focused on environmental and natural resource outcomes. Please come to check out our poster at number 57 to learn more about our findings, and also scan our QR code to download our discussion paper that is available and open access. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there a mic somewhere that is off? Okay, please, could you turn it off? Yeah.
Okay, hi. We aim to study the effect of household livestock keeping on one of the health outcomes, anemia, in a low-income setting. So we conducted analysis of secondary data using the Ethiopian Demographic and Health Survey. We used a rigorous analysis using robust prosperity score matching analysis method. We found that aggregate ownership of livestock, that means without specifying by species, was not associated with both hemoglobin concentration as well as anemia risks, but by using species-specific analysis, poultry was associated with a lower risk of anemia, while sheep or goat keeping was associated with higher risk of anemia. So in conclusion, we say that ownership of small livestock species, particularly goats and sheep, are associated with higher risk.
Thank you, Tadessa. Tammy Castro, please. Your time starts now.
Almost 70% of people living with HIV globally live on the African continent, where climate shocks are increasing in frequency and severity, having negative impacts on crop production and income. For farmers living with HIV, losses in crop production and income can have negative downstream effects on HIV health outcomes through food insecurity, undernutrition, and loss of income. We evaluated a cluster randomized control trial comprised of climate adaptive agriculture and finance intervention for farmers living with HIV in Western Kenya. We estimated effects of the intervention on crop and diet diversity, crop production value, number of hectares farmed, and MUAC. We found people in the intervention arm grew more diverse crops, earned more income, and did this on less land. We found mixed results on diet diversity and no impact on MUAC. Shamba Maisha could act to boost climate resilience and reduce high energy labor for farmers living with HIV in climate affected regions. And to learn more, come to our poster 59.
Thank you, Tammy. We go online now to Marco Hansen, please. Your time starts now, Marco.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. So our poster presents qualitative research that was led by Reading University and took place in Thailand and Laos. What we were trying to do was make a methodological and conceptual contribution to the very active field of food environment research. And the poster is depicting four main themes that come out from our qualitative research. Firstly, we document again how local notions of what food is can complicate the study of food environment research, for instance, crickets. We also discuss how food environments are not only physical spaces, but also dynamic social environments. We also highlight how being included in the external food environment doesn't necessarily mean that people also experience food security or even control over their food choices. And lastly, we highlight that the very drivers of food insecurity can also be drivers of political risks that can undermine and challenge the tools and techniques that we use to study food environments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. George Fesati, please, online.
Muribwanji and warm Pacific greetings. I'm George Ifisiti from the University of the South Pacific based here in Fiji. Our study covered 5 villages from the Asawa group of islands, and there was a lot of food production activities, but they were not reflected in the health status of our SIDS island, Pacific countries. A sample size of 200 participants, but the poster reflected quantitative results. Our tools covered, we did 24-hour recalls, and FIS questions from FAO were adopted. We concluded that communal working together for food production and traditional sharing of food during feasting could be solutions to contribute to our food security. The results we please feel free to come and see me at our poster presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. We move on now to the innovative methods, tools, and metrics theme. Back online to Elizabeth Graham, please.
All right, thank you. Good morning from Baltimore. We looked at community level urbanicity and household level food insecurity across Nepal, one of the most rapidly urbanizing countries worldwide. Instead of using the traditional urban versus rural categorization, we developed our own urbanicity scale, scoring each community between 0 and 80, 80 being the most urban. And figure 1 shows one of our unexpected findings, that the 3 agroecological zones were quite similar using this approach. We also found that a 10-unit increase in urbanicity was protective against food insecurity. The Terai, or the High Plains region, was the only zone without statistical significance, which was another interesting finding as it is the agricultural hub of the country. In figure 2, we saw differences between agricultural and other occupations, but this was not a significant modifier in this relationship. Instead, we saw that working in agriculture was helpful in the Terai, but harmful in the hill and mountain zones. And so this supports more nuanced urbanicity measures to be developed from existing data. Please see our poster number 62.
So let's move to Anna Herthforth, please. Your time starts now.
The Diet Quality Questionnaire, or DQQ, is used to measure diet quality in populations. And it has been implemented so far nationally in 56 countries and will be implemented in over 90 countries by the end of next year in the Gallup World Poll. So with all of this diet data across countries, can we say anything about the environmental impact of diets? The DQQ data is composed of food groups, and we can see that food groups have different carbon impacts. For example, ruminant red meat has about 20 times the greenhouse gas emissions as grains on average, as shown with the blue arrows. We can use these relative carbon impacts to assign a score to each food group, or we can also just focus on the highest emitting groups in the box. When we do this, we see that food group data can provide a reasonable indication of carbon footprint of diets.
Shamna Dons.
All right, so our poster presents the findings from a pilot study that was conducted in 4 countries, in Liberia, Honduras, Nigeria, and Timor-Leste, to examine the suitability and feasibility of implementation of a package of 7 assessments to measure food environments in built environments. We found in general that the tools or the assessments were feasible. However, in some cases, the assessments were a bit burdensome, so they might require some modifications in some contexts. We also identified the need to include social participatory mapping as a formative step to inform the sampling of the markets that we included in the studies. In terms of some of the opportunities for using this package of assessments, but also some gaps and challenges, we're more than happy to chat to you about those. We'll be at poster number 66, and I'll be here in person, and we'll also have people online as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Liberty Malambo, the time starts now.
Thank you. Yep, I have 6 words for you. What, where, when, why, how, and who. So just a quick show of hands. Who ate rice in the past 7 days? Yep, so I'm here to tell you that the rice that you ate is different. It matters where it was grown. So that's the what. And where was it grown? Location matters. And when? Seasonality as well of the rice that you ate also matters. So why then do we, when we are composing food composition tables, why don't we take all that into account? So what we are doing at the MAPS project, we used Malawi as an example, analyzed this household consumption and expenditure survey, and then developed an R methodology for categorizing foods and making sure that that information is shown. So you can come to talk to us at poster number 67 and also with the count of maps. Thank you.
Thank you. David Banda, your time starts now.
Sustainable Food Trust is looking for a holistic way to measure the farm sustainability. They developed the Global Farm Metric tool, which has been used in UK, and in a way, they wanted to know if it can be used here in Malawi. The context of smallholder farmers here in Malawi is very different than that of UK. Therefore, for us, we categorize 3 domains. That is the soil health, with a particular focus on the observation of the soil colors, but also the social capital, which is about the knowledge sharing and gender relations, and also the human capital, which has to do with food security. By consulting experts, but also farmers from the northern part of Malawi, that is Mzimba, which is patrilineal, and the central region, which is matrilineal. Overall, we conclude that the Global Farm Metric 2 is potentially relevant for key stakeholders and policy makers interested in whole farm sustainability. For more, visit our poster number 68.
Thank you. Louise Under, your time starts now.
Hi, the Micronutrient Action Policy Support Tool is, as you've already heard, developing a number of visualizations and modeling capacity across the food system, which is available open access online through the web. But we also in there have, shortly to arrive, we have functionality to enable the visualization of biomarker data. So if you would like to know more about this, please come and visit the poster online with our lead author, Fanny Sandalinas, an expert in biomarkers, or with us at poster 69. But if you are somebody who would like to engage with our open access methods underlying the tool as well, you would like to use them yourself in other contexts, you would like to develop them further, still, please come and visit us because we make those available and we would love to discuss them with you. If you think it's pretty difficult using R, you haven't got started in R, but you would like to do this, please still come and talk to us because we do provide some training opportunities and you're very welcome to those. So thank you.
Thank you. Lucia Segovia, please. Your time starts now.
Hi, some of you may recognize me from the MAPS Learning Lab or the side event on resources for household survey, new resources for household survey for nutrition. So for those of you, please bear with me for a second. So most of you have used, are using, or will use food composition table at some point for nutritional assessment. So if you are dreading the day that you need to do the food matching between food composition and food consumption, I might have some good news for you. So find me in the poster number 70. But also, as Luis said, if you are interested on household survey data or in general open source and transparent and reproducible method for nutrition, find me or any of my colleagues with map stickers around the conference. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Julia Matheson.
A wide range of metrics, datasets, and analytical techniques have been used to explore the role of dietary choices in driving environmental degradation, health and disease outcomes, and the affordability of food baskets. Many argue that each domain is important, but few have tackled all simultaneously in analyzing diet outcome relationships. This scoping review analyzed studies that examine dietary patterns in relation to two of the four pillars of sustainability: health, environmental, social, and economic. Of the eligible publications that were included in the review, none incorporated all four pillars of sustainability. Furthermore, results revealed that no publications incorporated social sustainability outcomes, and few incorporated data from low and middle income country contexts. Overall, the review highlights a need for greater transparency around the analytical methods and metrics in multidimensional sustainability analyses and clarity around how these studies can help inform policymakers of analyzing the trade-offs.
Thank you. We go online now to Alicia Deadmore.
Hi, so this meta-analysis was conducted in 2022 using a systematic evidence and a gap map, an EGM, of studies linking food security and nutrition with mental health. We looked at the places where there was a lack of evidence, and one of these was on the intersection of common mental disorders with healthy diets, especially in low and middle income countries. We performed a state-of-the-art meta-analysis on 25 studies, which examined the relationships between healthy diets and common mental health disorders after this result. We transformed the results of all of these into standard deviations and pooled the effects for studies on depression, anxiety, and stress. Although there are differing effect sizes in the pooled analysis, we found very consistent relationships. We found strong and consistent relationships, particularly between healthier diets and less symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. For more information, please come and visit at poster 73. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next theme is behavioral research related to diet, nutrition, and health. And we'll come to Gareth Osman, please. Your time starts now.
Hello. I guess by now you recognize these sticker maps. In our study, we explored whether shifting towards orange-faced sweet potato, driven by income growth, could meaningfully reduce vitamin A inadequacy in Malawi, based on the 50th Integrated Household Survey. And we prepared 4 scenarios to reset how sweet potato might change over time. And we found that the projected demand for orange-faced sweet potato supports a moderate reduction in vitamin A inadequacy at the national level. And relatively more orange-faced sweet potato is consumed by higher quintiles, which are less affected by vitamin A inadequacy, meaning that gaps remain to benefit the rural lowest socioeconomic position who most need it. So interventions to increase oil-free sweet potato consumption should first focus on these groups. So see us as maps as well as on poster number 74. Thank you.
Thank you. Online now, Jessica Myers.
Hello. This secondary analysis found 26 different antibiotics formulated for humans were reported as used mainly in chickens, goats, and cows in agricultural settings across Uganda, Tanzania, and India. This is known as crossover use and has potential for toxicity and resistance development and spread. 4 key drivers, common across the countries, were identified by a thematic analysis of focus group discussions with livestock keepers and a range of public and retail medicine providers in both human and animal sectors. These drivers are perceptions around efficacy and safety of human antibiotics, advice and word of mouth, the differences in availability of human and veterinary services and antibiotics, and finally, the economic incentives to buy human antibiotics, as they are often cheaper, and economic pressures for medicine providers to sell. This is the first study characterizing and investigating crossover use, and understanding antibiotic use in these low production settings is important, as farms smaller than 2 hectares are responsible for over 25% of livestock food production in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Thank you.
Thank you. Priya Payden Tisharin.
Welcome, everyone. The Nutrition in City Ecosystems project has been designed to enrich urban food systems in 3 countries. Our focus today is Rwanda. One of the many holistic initiatives we took was to encourage farmers in 2 smaller cities to adopt more agroecological farming methods. Qualitative interviews showed us that farmers trust other farmers, helping us design a social marketing campaign called Hinga Neza, which means farm well in Kenya, Rwanda. Here, agroecology was positioned as a social movement and not just a strategic switch, using motivators like self-development, community growth, and also resolving to mitigate barriers such as costly inputs, unpredictable climate, etc. In just 3 months, more than 1,000 farmers are now familiarized with agroecological practices. Do visit us at number 76 to learn about this unique journey in reshaping urban food systems. Thank you.
Thank you. Stacey Griswold.
Thank you. So I'm presenting an analysis from the One Nutrition in Complex Environments, or ONCE study, which was carried out in northern Uganda from 2021 to 2022. So moving down along the left of this graphic, you see a graphic that describes our intervention, the Nutrition Impact and Positive Practice, or NIP. NIP is a unique type of SBCC intervention in that it uses this concept of the circle, and it's held intensively for 12 to 14 weeks. So it's a short and intensive intervention. Now, the core hypothesis tested here is whether the NIP program or the NIP program combined with value-added inputs, i.e. NIP plus, improves the quality of diets among children 6 to 24 months and among female caregivers by N-line. Now, using minimum dietary diversity as our indicator of interest, you see here that compared to control, which is the blue bars, by N-line, a larger proportion of children and female caregivers were achieving their minimum dietary diversity, and these results were significant.
Thank you. Come to our final theme, environment, climate change, and food systems. Online to Musumi K. Batashaji.
Machana Maveva Malawi. Drawing from Kumi Naidu's talk, if we are to ensure climate justice, we have a solution that's a decentralized decision support system using a dashboard approach. There's ample global evidence as to why we need to construct one to facilitate computational data science, agricultural science, for real-time data, for real-time monitoring, identifying soil, water, plant, animal, human health indicators, crop-related factors, pests, biosafety, GHG emissions. It's a unified approach to analyzing historical, real-time, and predicted data in one space, ensure that minimum deadweight loss, and maximize efficiency and equity, and bridge debate between policymakers on climate change adaptation and mitigation, ensure daily concerted efforts towards climate-smart agriculture. The snapshot of the big data performance system, where we identify patches of caution and alert for immediate action by policymakers using simulated data sets. Please visit poster number 78. Asante Nisano.
Thank you. Right, Neville Sue, please. Your time starts now.
Women engaged in small-scale fisheries in the Gambia struggle to sustain their livelihood due to escalating stressors such as climate change, on their livelihood. In this study, we assess the role of climate change, stressors such as climate change on the livelihood of women engaged in oyster harvesting in the Gambia. We found that these stressors reduce fish catch and consequently reduce income from fish-related activities. Moreover, these stressors have also increased food and nutrition insecurity, including a reduction in the consumption of nutritional and healthy diets. Thus, we recommend strengthening climate resilient aquatic food system approaches, such as instituting a closed fishing season, that can enhance future sustainability and development of fishery sectors in the oyster sector in the Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you, Neville. Martin, Paul Jr., Tabe Ojong.
Yeah, hi. So we all agree that climate change is one of the biggest global threats. So given this, we examine the adoption of some climate-smart agricultural practices in legume-based systems in Ghana, Mali, but also Nigeria. And we look at the implications of these practices on not only food security, but also on yields. So the three common practices we observe in these countries are the adoption of climate-resilient groundnut varieties, but also intercropping these groundnut varieties with maize and other cereals, and then the use of also organic fertilizers. So subjecting this to some rigorous analysis, we see that the adoption of these practices increases yields, but also food security. However, we observe that the biggest yields and food security gains are observed under the bundling of these practices. So farmers who adopt all these three practices kind of are observed to consume more diverse and nutritionally valued foods. We also underscore significant heterogeneity in these three countries, suggesting that context matters. A lot of results, but yeah, come join me, let's talk about this at poster 80. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And one final presentation online from Lisa von Grafenstein, please.
Yes, so hello everyone. Last year I was an Emana Fellow, and today I would like to introduce you to my study. It's called Mapping Real-Time Child Malnutrition in India Using Machine Learning. And I'm motivating it in the following way. So the agricultural food systems, and so the coexistence of undernutrition and diet-related overweight in children in low and middle income countries changed so rapidly that past survey data becomes outdated very quickly. This is where the study comes in. It provides evidence for aid decision-making by showing that prediction models based on machine learning map real-time child malnutrition more accurately than past household survey data, at least for overweight. Further, the study shows that systematically selected indicators from an agricultural food systems framework are important to map child malnutrition. If you'd like to get to know more about my study, please join me virtually at poster 63.
Okay, so that's it. We've heard all 70-something mini poster presentations now, and you still have an opportunity to go online or to visit them next door. So please do that between today and tomorrow. Poster voting is open. Okay, poster voting is open and closes at 3:30 p.m. tomorrow. So whatever you're doing, try to get your votes in before that time. And there are three prizes up for grabs. So yes, do that as soon as you can.